Hello, team players. Got a little bit of a different video for you guys today. Today, I want to give you guys the full story as to why I cover teamwork on this channel. But to do that, I gotta go back to when I first started playing TTRPGs way back in 2007. So back then, I had heard of D&D, but I'd never actually played it. And I was a pretty avid Yu-Gi-Oh player back then. Not so much anymore, but I used to be, most definitely. So one day I decided to go to my local card shop and participate in a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. However, that Yu-Gi-Oh tournament was canceled because they didn't have enough people. So I decided to stick around and see what else was going on. And I'm glad I did. Because I met a guy who would change my life forever. He asked me if I wanted to be part of a D&D campaign since we couldn't play Yu-Gi-Oh. I jumped at the chance. I had been wanting to try it, but couldn't find anybody willing to DM for a new player. Remember, this was D&D 3.5 days. So I started with that. And I played that for 3 years until I decided to try Pathfinder 1st Edition. Like a lot of people, I tried D&D 4th Edition and hated it. So I was looking for another game, and Pathfinder 1st Edition seemed perfect. So I played Pathfinder 1st Edition for 8 years, up until the point where the Pathfinder 2e playtest came out, which I was a part of. But I'm getting ahead of myself. While I was playing Pathfinder 1st Edition, I played pretty much every character there was in that system. But eventually I got to the character that changed my life. The character that made me rethink everything. Anastasia, my half-elf paladin. Anastasia is the character that made me realize I was getting bored with combat. I'm not talking about just with Anastasia. This was all combats. It didn't matter what I was playing. Whether it was a fighter, a barbarian, a druid, or any other spellcaster. I was bored with combat. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed the game. I had good GMs who told great stories. But combat was becoming tedious for me. So, rather than quit the game altogether, I decided that I was going to try to figure out why I was getting bored with combat. It took me a while, but eventually I did figure it out. The reason I was getting bored with combat was because I was just trying to do damage. It didn't matter what type of character I was playing, it was all about damage. How much damage I could do, and that's it. It wasn't about anything else. But if you think about it, that's how Pathfinder 1e is set up, because it is based on D&D 3.5. But yeah, it was all about my damage and my survival. And I realized that's not how I wanted to play the game. That's why I was getting bored. But it took me even longer to figure out what I did want to do as far as strategy in combat. Of course, at this time, I was in college getting my business degree. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to think about this. But I did manage to look on all sorts of social media. Reddit, Facebook, all sorts of things like that. But it wasn't until Pathfinder 2nd Edition playtest came out that I started to figure it out. So in 2018, the Pathfinder 2e playtest came out, and I was a part of that playtest. But the problem was I was getting wiped in every single playtest. We didn't even do the famous TPK module, and yeah, I was getting wiped, and I would have no idea why. This was also around the time I was starting to think about starting this channel. So, I ended up having a conversation with my mom about this. Keep in mind, my mom has absolutely no idea about any of this. But she's the one that helped me figure it out. I'll never forget what she said to me. It'll stick with me for a long time. She said, think about it. Something must have brought you to this game in the first place. You played this game for years. Something kept you here. And that's when a light bulb went off. And I realized why I started gaming in the first place. And the reason I started the gaming in the first place was because of the camaraderie. Was because I got to work with other people toward a goal. And I got to have fun with other people. And I realized that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to help people in combat. Once I started doing that, the playtest went so much better. I mean, it was night and day. Of course, I didn't start this channel until August of 2020. That's mainly because I didn't graduate from college until December of 2019. And after that, I was looking for a job. But I didn't know much about Pathfinder 2e, not near enough to cover teamwork on this channel, until around January of 2021. That was when I uploaded my very first teamwork build, and the rest is history. It took me another 3 years to get to this point, but I think I've done pretty well for you guys. But yeah, that's the entire story. So now you guys understand why I cover teamwork on this channel, because I want other people to have the same experience that I had, the epiphany. And Pathfinder 2e is an excellent system to use teamwork in, especially since every class in the entire game can help the team in some way. It doesn't matter whether you're playing a rogue, a sorcerer, or a fighter. You will find some way to help the team. And that's what I'm trying to teach you with this channel. But if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Pathfinder and Starfinder 2e teamwork content. You can also check out my Patreon page or become a member of this channel to get my videos early. You can also get access to my Discord server as well as Google Sheets for all my teamwork builds on the Patreon as well. If you're interested in tier lists for subclasses in Pathfinder 2e, I've got a few videos right here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, teamwork is vital. It helps us solve problems.